Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our English Learning Podcast. I'm Emma.
And I'm Tom. Emma, I have a question for you before we start. When you think of coffee shops, what is the very first brand that comes into your mind?
Oh, that's easy. Starbucks. The green logo, the little mermaid, the paper cups with your name written on the side.
Right. For many, many years, Starbucks was the king of coffee. If you traveled anywhere in the world, you could find that green sign. But here is something surprising. In the biggest market of all, China, Starbucks is now losing the battle.
Losing? That's a strong word. What do you mean, losing?
Well, in November of last year, 2025, Starbucks did something very unusual. It sold most of its China business. It gave up control. A local company now owns the bigger share.
Wow. So the American giant is stepping back, and local Asian brands are stepping forward.
Exactly. And that is our topic for today. We are going to talk about the coffee war in Asia. We'll meet the local cafe chains that are growing incredibly fast, and we'll try to understand why they are winning.
I love this. And don't worry if you're still learning English. We will speak slowly and we will explain the difficult words as we go. So relax, maybe get a cup of coffee yourself, and let's begin.
A perfect idea. Let's start with the big picture.
So Tom, let's go back to that surprising news. Starbucks sold most of its China business. Can you explain that more simply?
Of course, imagine you own a big shop. Business is hard, so you invite a partner. This partner gives you money, and in return, they take control of the shop. You still own a small part, but you are no longer the boss.
That's what Starbucks did in China?
Yes, a Chinese investment company called Boyu Capital now holds up to 60% of Starbucks stores in China. Starbucks keeps only 40%. The whole business was valued at around $4 billion US.
4 billion. That's a huge number. But if it's still worth so much, why does Starbucks want a partner? Why give up control?
Great question. The simple answer is competition. Local rivals are growing so fast that Starbucks is struggling to keep up. Let me share one number. In China, Starbucks has about 8,000 stores.
8,000? That already sounds like a lot.
It does, but its biggest rival, a company called Luckin Coffee, has more than 29,000 stores.
29,000? So Luckin has almost 4 times more stores than Starbucks.
Almost 4 times, yes. And 10 years ago, Luckin did not even exist. So you can see why Starbucks is worried.
Let me stop you on one word, Tom, because some listeners may not know it. You said rival. A rival is a competitor, right? Someone you are trying to beat.
Exactly right. Your rival is the other team, the other company, the person trying to win the same prize. In business, your rival wants the same customers you want.
Perfect. So Starbucks is fighting many rivals in Asia. Let's meet the most famous one first. Let's talk about Luckin Coffee.
Luckin Coffee is one of the most amazing business stories of the last 10 years. And I say amazing because it has both a terrible chapter and a wonderful chapter.
Ooh, I like stories with drama. Start from the beginning.
Luckin started in China in 2017. That's very recent. Their idea was simple but clever. Instead of big, comfortable cafes like Starbucks, they built small shops. Many of these shops have no chairs at all. You don't sit and relax. You just order and go.
So you order on your phone, you walk in, you pick up your coffee, and you leave.
Exactly. Everything happens through an app on your phone. You order with the app, you pay with the app, and you almost always get a discount, a lower price, through the app.
Ah, discount. Let me explain that word too. A discount is money off the normal price. So if a coffee is $5 but you pay $3, you got a $2 discount.
Well explained. And these discounts were a huge reason for Luckin's success. Their coffee was much cheaper than Starbucks. For many young people in China, Luckin became the everyday choice.
Okay, so that's the good part. But you said there was a terrible chapter too. What happened?
Yes, in 2020, there was a big scandal. Do you know that word, scandal?
A scandal is when something shocking and wrong becomes public. Usually, it damages someone's reputation.
Perfect. Luckin's scandal was about money. The company lied about its sales. It said it was selling much more coffee than it really was. When people discovered the truth, it was a disaster. Luckin was removed from the American stock market. Many people thought the company would die.
That sounds like the end of the story. How is Luckin now the biggest coffee chain in China?
This is the wonderful chapter. Instead of giving up, Luckin changed its leaders, paid its fines, and focused on one thing: selling good coffee at a low price very fast. And customers came back. Today, Luckin has more stores in China than any other coffee company in the world.
That's incredible. From a shameful scandal to number one, it shows that a company can recover if it changes and works hard.
It really does. And Luckin keeps trying new things. They sell fun, seasonal drinks, coffee mixed with coconut, or even coffee mixed with alcohol in special versions. They create excitement. Every week, there is something new.
So the lesson from Luckin is be cheap, be fast, use technology, and keep things exciting.
That's a great summary. Now, Luckin is coffee, but in Asia, there is another giant drink that is just as important. Maybe even more important. Can you guess what it is?
In Asia? I think tea?
Tea, exactly. Let's talk about tea next.
So Tom, when you say tea, I imagine a quiet, traditional tea ceremony. An old cup, hot water, very calm.
That's the old image, yes, but there is a new kind of tea business, and it is anything but quiet. The most famous example is a brand called Chaji. In Chinese, it's Bawang Chaji.
Chaji. And what do they sell exactly?
They sell modern tea drinks. Think of fresh tea mixed with milk served cold in a beautiful cup. It looks stylish and modern, but the tea itself connects to traditional Chinese culture. So it's old and new at the same time.
That's a smart mix. Young people love things that look modern but also feel meaningful.
Exactly, and Chaji grew unbelievably fast. By 2025, they had more than 7,000 tea shops. And in April 2025, the company did something big. It listed on the American stock market in New York.
Wait, let me make sure everyone understands. When a company lists on the stock market, what does that mean?
Good idea to slow down here. When a company lists, it means people can now buy small pieces of that company. These small pieces are called shares. So if you believe in the company, you can buy a share and become a tiny owner.
And this is a big deal because it usually means the company is successful and wants to grow even bigger.
Right. On its first day, Chaji was valued at almost 6 billion US dollars. And here's the interesting part for us. Chaji doesn't only want to sell tea in China, it wants to go global.
Global, meaning all around the world.
Yes, they opened their first American shop in Los Angeles in 2025. They're also in Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia, and more. Their dream is very bold. They talk about selling billions of cups of tea all around the world.
So Chaji wants to be for tea what Starbucks was for coffee, a brand that people everywhere recognize.
That's a perfect way to say it. They want to make Chinese-style tea as famous as the Italian-style coffee that Starbucks made popular.
I find that really exciting. For a long time, big global food brands came from America or Europe. Now they are coming from Asia.
And that's a theme we keep seeing today. Speaking of which, let's leave China and travel south, to Southeast Asia. There's a wonderful story waiting for us in Indonesia.
Indonesia. Okay, Tom, tell me about this one.
The brand is called Kopi Kenangan. In the Indonesian language, kopi means coffee, and kenangan means memory. So the name means something like coffee of memories.
Oh, that's beautiful. Coffee of memories, I love that.
It's a lovely name, and the story behind the company is just as lovely. It started small, very small, in 2017, but the founders had a clever idea. In Indonesia, imported coffee like Starbucks was quite expensive for ordinary people, but the cheap street coffee was sometimes low quality.
So there was a gap in the middle. No good coffee at a fair price.
Exactly the gap they filled. Kopi Kenangan sold good coffee made with an espresso machine, but at a price local people could easily afford. Not too cheap, not too expensive. Just right.
That just right middle place is often the smartest place to be in business.
It really is, and the results were remarkable. In 2021, Kopi Kenangan became the first food and drink unicorn in Southeast Asia.
Stop. Unicorn. That's a fun word, but in business it has a special meaning, doesn't it?
It does, and it's one of my favorite business words. A unicorn is a young private company that is worth more than $1 billion. It's called a unicorn because, like the magical horse with one horn, such companies are supposed to be very rare and special.
So, Kopi Kenangan grew from a tiny coffee stall to a company worth over $1 billion. That's the unicorn.
Yes, and today they have well over 1,000 stores. They're opening new shops incredibly fast, sometimes about one new store every single day. And they've grown beyond Indonesia, into Malaysia, Singapore, the Philippines, and even India.
In many of these markets, they now reach more customers than Starbucks does. The local brand beat the global giant on its home ground.
That's the pattern of our whole episode, isn't it? Whether it's Luckin in China, or Chaji with tea, or Kopi Kenangan in Indonesia, local brands understand local customers, and they win.
So let's dig into that. Let's answer the big question. Why are these local chains winning? I think our listeners will really want to understand this part.
Let's list the reasons together. I think there are 4 main ones. Reason number 1, price. The local brands are usually cheaper. In many Asian countries, a Starbucks coffee feels like a luxury. The local coffee is an everyday treat.
And when times are hard and people have less money, price becomes even more important. People still want their coffee, but they want to pay less.
Exactly. Reason number 2, technology. The local brands live inside your phone. You order with an app, you collect points, you get personal discounts. It's fast and it feels modern.
Reason number 3, I think, is taste. The local brands make flavors for local people. Coffee with coconut, tea with special local fruits, sweetness levels that fit local taste. Starbucks often sells the same menu everywhere in the world.
That's a strong point. And reason number 4 is something deeper. Pride. National pride. Many young people in Asia now feel proud to choose a successful local brand instead of a foreign one. 20 years ago, a foreign brand felt special. Today, a smart local brand can feel even cooler.
That's a big cultural change. The feeling has flipped.
It really has. So, to summarize, cheaper prices, better technology, local flavors, and a sense of pride. Put those 4 things together and you have a powerful recipe for beating even a giant like Starbucks.
And to be fair to Starbucks, they are not giving up. They still want to grow. They just realize they need local partners to help them fight.
True, the war is not over. But the map of coffee has completely changed.
So Tom, before we finish, what's the one big lesson you take from all of this?
For me, it's this. The world is changing, and new leaders can come from anywhere. For a long time, we assumed the biggest brands would always come from the West. But these Asian companies show us that with a smart idea, technology, and hard work, a small local shop can grow into a giant in just a few years.
I love that. And for our English learners listening, there's a lesson too. Luckin fell down with a scandal and then stood back up and became number 1. So if you make a mistake in English, if you say the wrong word or feel shy, remember, falling down is not the end. Getting back up is what matters.
Beautifully said, Emma. That's a perfect thought to end on.
Before we go, let's quickly review some of the useful words from today. We learned rival, which means a competitor. We learned discount, money off the normal price. We learned scandal, a shocking public wrongdoing. And we learned unicorn, a young company worth over $1 billion.
Great review. If you can use those 4 words this week, your English will grow a little stronger.
That's all for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening and learning with us.
If you enjoyed this, please subscribe and tell us in the comments, what is your favorite cafe or drink? We would love to read your answers, in English, of course.
Until next time, keep practicing, keep smiling, and keep speaking English. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone. See you in the next episode.